Hey everybody, this is your Frank Pinetop update. Starting our season here at the Advanced Pinetop again, and had a great start to the season. 26 on the flat, which I thought was appropriate. I thought he was really soft and supple and relaxed, and yet had kept the energy up. So I think the judge was correct in rewarding him for that. If I could say anything, he can always be a little bit more open in his medium and extended trots, but I thought that was decent for him. And he could have been a little bit sharper into the lateral movements. Sometimes I have to kind of wake him up a little bit to do that, but overall, he was good. This right shoulder in is generally the hard one, so I kind of worked on that a little the day before, and that was actually the movement that he did the best out of the lateral work. So I have to pay attention to all of the different, shoulder in, haunches in, half passes. I got to work on all of them, not just the one that he struggles with. Usually he finds the haunches in very easy, but he was actually a little bit stiff there. But overall, it just, there was a lot to like, and, I was able to ride him very, very positively, and but in a way that, it didn't, sometimes it can look like I'm working a little bit hard to get him to show off what movement he does have. But I thought, I probably, was showing the judge that he was very trained and very correct. And I don't think it looked like I was doing too much, which is always the goal of dressage, to make it look like you're doing nothing and having the horses just go along and look, very fancy and schooled and show off whatever movement they have. So great start there, and then he did show jump clean, which is always good at the beginning of the season. You don't have any match practice, so that's always, you can do dressage. You can set up a 20 by 60 at home and you can practice all you want, but it's in show jumping cross country, there's no substitute for going out and doing it. So coming out first one of the season and jumping clean, which isn't, hasn't always been the case. I think, a couple of years ago before COVID, we had the start of the season and we had 2 down in the intermediate and we were knocking off some rust, but then he show jumped clean in the advanced a couple weeks later. So, that's not, jumping clean at the beginning of the year, always a good way to start things off and kind of get things on the right foot. So then he had a healthy lead going into cross country, which was nice. Last year I was in the same position and I did try to go for the win. But I don't think there's much advantage to doing that. So, especially now with the change in the point system. So most likely if you win an intermediate at the end of the year, that's not really going to affect your placings in the leaderboard. So, not a whole lot of advantage, and we've won Pinetop before. It's not anything too special there. We want to focus on winning the FEI stuff. That's kind of my goal going forward. So Frank and Sammy, they just had a can around to get their feet wet on the cross country, and then then the next outing is Carolina, and Carolina is a great place to add a little speed to the equation. The ground is just very, very consistent. They've really done a terrific job there, and probably giving us some of the best footing that we will get to see the whole year. So hopefully, we'll get some good training, uninhibited by weather or ground in Virginia between now and then. That would be ideal, and we can really kind of ramp up the intensity of our training and do some more cross country and add a little bit more speed to their fitness program and have them physically ready to go ahead and do the time at Carolina. I think that would be ideal. Haven't everything we've done to this point has been very slow, so I think that's why it was appropriate to have some time penalties with these guys. But having said that, it was a really good cross-country round at the beginning of the season, and the show jumping I was very happy with too. A big thing that I work with Frank on is being able to be a little bit collected and waiting and balanced to the jumps, without him losing revs, because he's not a horse. He doesn't, naturally create his own energy all the time. So not getting baited into just riding very open to the jumps, which is something that I tend to do with him a little bit. So trying to keep him a little bit more together, without him getting behind the leg, So I think this is a good example here coming up the hill. Make him wait at the vertical so that he jumps up and down as opposed to across, which might be a trap that I would sometimes have a rail at, which I thought was good. But then he was in a better balance for the last, so that was really good. So on to Carolina.